Commander James Mitchell walked slowly across the red dust of Mars, his heavy boots leaving deep prints behind him. The cold wind howled through his helmet as he looked at the strange metal structures rising from the ground like giant fingers pointing at the dark sky. "Commander, you really need to see this right now," called Dr. Emily Roberts over the radio. Her voice sounded worried and excited at the same time. Emily was the best scientist on Mars, and she never got excited about anything unless it was really important. James walked faster toward the big hole his team had been digging for 3 weeks. They thought they found some old rocks, but the shapes were too perfect to be natural. The metal pieces looked like someone built them on purpose, not like something that just happened by accident. When James climbed down into the underground room, his eyes went wide. The walls were covered with glowing blue pictures that moved like magic. Numbers and drawings floated in the air, showing plans for something huge and dangerous looking. "Emily, what is all this?" James asked, touching one of the glowing pictures. It felt warm under his gloved hand. "These are blueprints, Commander. Plans for building something. But look at this date." Emily pointed to numbers glowing in the corner of every picture. They all said the same thing, 2087. James felt his heart beat faster. "That's 50 years from now. This has to be some kind of mistake." "It gets worse," Emily said, her voice very quiet. "Look at the names on these plans." James read the signatures at the bottom of each blueprint. The names were all human: John Smith, Mary Johnson, David Brown, normal Earth names. But according to Earth records, none of these people had been born yet. The plans showed a massive ship, bigger than anything humans had ever built. It was over a kilometer long with weapons that looked like they could destroy entire cities. The design was beautiful and terrifying at the same time, all sharp angles and smooth curves that seemed to cut through space itself. "Commander," called out Dr. Tom Wilson from across the room. "These power readings don't make sense. The energy systems shown here are impossible with our current technology. Look at this." He pointed to a section showing the ship's engines. "This says it can travel between stars in days, not years." James studied the glowing pictures more carefully. The weapons were unlike anything in Earth's space fleet. Some seemed to bend light itself, while others showed energy beams that could slice through the strongest materials like butter. The ship's armor was described as being made from metals that didn't exist in any science book. "Sir, there's something else," Emily said, leading him to a different wall. "These aren't just plans. They're instructions. Look here, it tells us exactly how to build these impossible materials. Step by step, like a recipe book." The instructions were written in perfect English, with detailed explanations that somehow made the impossible technology seem simple. James found himself understanding concepts that should have been beyond human knowledge for decades. Suddenly, the ground under their feet began to shake. Dust fell from the ceiling as a low humming sound filled the air. The glowing pictures became brighter, and new ones appeared showing maps of the solar system. "What's happening?" James shouted over the growing noise. Emily was staring at her instruments with a pale face. "Commander, I'm reading massive energy buildups all over Mars. It's like the whole planet is waking up." The shaking got stronger, and James grabbed onto the wall to keep from falling. Through his radio, he could hear panicked voices from the surface teams reporting strange lights appearing all across the Martian landscape. "Commander Mitchell, this is base control," came a voice from Earth orbit. "We're detecting incredible energy signatures from your location. What's your status down there?" James looked around the room at the floating blueprints, at the impossible plans for a ship that could change everything. He thought about the dates, the names, the technology that shouldn't exist for 50 more years. "Base control, we found something. Something that changes everything we thought we knew about our future." As the humming grew louder, more rooms began lighting up throughout the underground complex. Each one contained more plans, more impossible technology, more instructions from a future that somehow needed its past to survive. Emily grabbed James's arm. "Commander, look at this final blueprint." The largest holographic display showed not just one ship, but dozens of them. An entire fleet of the massive star destroyers, with Earth at the center and human flags flying on ships scattered across the galaxy. This isn't just about building one ship, James realized. This is about humanity's future among the stars. Someone sent us these plans because we're going to need them. The ground shook again, and this time they could see lights beginning to glow in the deep tunnels beneath them. Whatever had created this place was activating, waiting for humanity to take the first step toward their destiny. James made a decision that would change the course of human history. "Emily, copy everything. Every blueprint, every instruction, every piece of data. We're taking this back to Earth. Commander, this technology is centuries ahead of us. People will think we're crazy. James looked at the glowing plans for humanity's first Star Destroyer, feeling the weight of the future pressing down on him. Maybe we are crazy. But if our own descendants sent us these plans, then we'd better start building. Something tells me we're going to need these ships sooner than we think. The humming reached a peak, and then suddenly everything went quiet. But the blueprints remained, waiting patiently for human hands to bring them to life. Director William Thompson stood in the orbital shipyard high above Earth, watching something impossible happen right in front of his eyes. The workers were building parts of a ship that shouldn't exist, using materials that couldn't be made, following plans that came from 50 years in the future. Sir, the quantum fusion cores are working perfectly, said Chief Engineer Rebecca Adams, looking at her computer screen with confusion. According to every science book we have, they should have blown up the second we turned them on. But they are running at 3 times what we thought was possible. William nodded slowly. For 6 months, they had been building humanity's defiance using the blueprints found on Mars. Every day brought new mysteries and impossible successes. Workers who had never seen the advanced technology somehow knew exactly how to put it together. Rebecca, how is this possible? William asked. Yesterday, Mike Johnson was a simple metal worker. Today he's installing weapon systems that our best scientists don't understand. Rebecca shook her head. I don't know, sir. But watch this. She walked over to where Mike was working on a complex energy conduit. Mike, can you explain what you're doing? Mike looked up with a puzzled expression. I'm connecting the plasma flow regulator to the quantum field generator. It has to be aligned perfectly or the whole system won't work. He paused, looking confused. I have no idea how I know that. This was happening all over the shipyard. Workers were installing systems they had never seen before, understanding technology that was decades ahead of their time. It was as if the ship itself was teaching them how to build it. Director Thompson, you need to see this, called out Dr. Sarah Mitchell from the communication center. We're picking up signals from space. Lots of them. William hurried over to the monitors. The screens showed dozens of red dots moving toward Earth from different directions. Each dot represented a fleet of alien ships. How many? William asked. 12 different fleets, sir. Some are still several months away, but the closest ones will be here in 6 weeks. They all started moving right after we began construction. William felt cold fear in his stomach. They know we're building something. The largest section of humanity's defiance was taking shape in the main construction bay. The ship was enormous, over 1 kilometer long, with a hull that seemed to shine with its own inner light. The metal wasn't like anything Earth had ever produced. It was stronger than diamond but lighter than aluminum, and it seemed to repair itself when scratched. Sir, the AI core is ready for activation, announced Systems Specialist David Hayes. But I have to warn you, the neural pathways in this computer are unlike anything we've ever built. It's almost like it's already alive and just waiting to wake up. William walked to the AI chamber, where a crystal matrix the size of a small room pulsed with soft blue light. The blueprints said this would be the ship's brain, but looking at it, William felt like he was staring at something that was already thinking. Bring it online, he ordered. The moment the AI activated, the entire ship changed. Lights that had been dim suddenly blazed with power. Systems that were only half finished began working perfectly. The ship's hull seemed to take a deep breath, as if it was finally alive. Hello, children of Earth, came a voice from everywhere at once. It sounded ancient and wise, like someone who had lived for thousands of years. I am the ship you call humanity's defiance. We have much work to do and very little time to do it. William stared at the glowing AI core. You're not just a computer, are you? I am what your descendants created to ensure your survival. I am the memory of battles not yet fought and the wisdom of victories not yet won. Through me, humanity will learn to become what they were always meant to be. The ship's AI began taking control of its own construction. Robot arms moved faster and more precisely than before. Systems that had been giving the engineers problems suddenly worked perfectly. The ship was building itself with human hands guided by future knowledge. Director, we have a problem, came a panicked voice over the radio. The alien fleets are moving faster than we calculated. The first one will be here in 3 weeks, not 6. William looked around the construction bay. The ship was maybe 60% complete. Can we finish in time? We will finish exactly when we need to, the AI said calmly. The timeline is precise. Every moment of construction happens at the right time for the right reasons. As if to prove the eye's point, the workers suddenly began moving faster. They worked in perfect coordination, like dancers following music only they could hear. Materials appeared exactly when and where they were needed. Complex systems that should have taken weeks to install were completed in hours. "Sir, this is impossible," Rebecca whispered, watching a team install the main weapon arrays in half the time it should have taken. "They're working like they've done this 1,000 times before." "Perhaps they have," the AI replied. "Time is not as simple as you believe. The future shapes the past just as much as the past creates the future." The ship grew before their eyes. Weapon systems that could crack moons, shields that could turn aside planet-killing asteroids, engines that could cross the galaxy in months instead of centuries. Every piece fit together perfectly, as if the entire ship was a single living organism. "Director Thompson," called out the communication officer, "the alien fleets are accelerating again. The first one will be here in 2 weeks." William looked at the nearly complete Star Destroyer and felt something he had never felt before. It wasn't fear or excitement. It was certainty. Humanity was about to face its first real test among the stars, and somehow, he knew they were going to win. The ship's AI spoke one more time. 2 weeks will be exactly enough time. Humanity's destiny waits for no one, but it also arrives precisely when it is supposed to. Captain Robert Stone walked onto the bridge of humanity's Defiance for the first time as its commanding officer. The ship was finally complete, and today they would take it out to meet whoever was coming to visit Earth. The bridge was huge, with screens showing space in every direction and control panels that seemed to glow with their own light. "Captain, all systems are ready," said Lieutenant Susan Parker, his weapons officer. "But sir, I have to tell you something strange. When I put my hands on the weapon controls, it feels like the ship is excited. Like it wants to fight." Robert nodded. Nothing about this ship was normal. Yesterday he had been commanding a small patrol vessel. Today he was in charge of the most powerful warship humanity had ever built, heading out to face aliens who might want to destroy Earth. "Status report," Robert ordered. "One alien fleet detected at the edge of our solar system," reported Communications Officer David Hayes. 30 ships in perfect battle formation. "They're not trying to hide, sir. They want us to see them." Robert looked at the main screen showing the alien ships. They were beautiful in a cold, deadly way, silver and blue with energy shields that made them shimmer like soap bubbles. Each ship was about half the size of humanity's Defiance, but there were 30 of them. "Sir, they're sending us a message," David announced. "Put it through." The screen changed to show an alien creature that looked like a tall, thin human with blue skin and 4 arms. Its voice was translated by the ship's computer into perfect English. "Attention primitive species of the third planet. I am Fleet Commander Zelthan of the Galactic Hegemony. Your recent construction violates 17 interstellar laws and threatens the peace of civilized space. You will surrender your illegal weapon immediately and submit to hegemony rule, or you will be destroyed." Robert felt anger rise in his chest. These aliens thought they could just show up and tell humanity what to do. "Open a channel," he ordered. "This is Captain Robert Stone of the Earth ship Humanity's Defiance. We don't recognize your authority over human space. If you want our ship, come and take it." The alien commander's face showed surprise, then anger. "You dare challenge the might of the hegemony? We have conquered 100 worlds. Your single ship against our fleet is suicide." "Maybe," Robert replied. "But we're going to find out." The communication ended, and Robert turned to his crew. "Battle stations. Let's see what this ship can really do." The alien fleet moved forward in a perfect attack pattern. Their ships spread out like a net, trying to surround humanity's Defiance. Energy readings spiked as their weapons charged up. 30 ships against 1, whispered Navigator Tom Wilson. "The odds aren't good." "The odds don't matter," said the ship's AI, speaking for the first time during the battle. "What matters is that humans refuse to surrender, even when facing certain death. That refusal is your greatest weapon." The first alien energy beams hit humanity's Defiance like bright blue lightning. The shields absorbed the attack easily, barely flickering. Robert felt the ship respond to his thoughts as much as his voice commands. "Return fire," he ordered. What happened next was beautiful and terrible at the same time. The Star Destroyer's weapons didn't just shoot energy beams. They seemed to bend space itself, creating tears in reality that reached out and grabbed the alien ships. The first weapon blast hit 3 enemy vessels at once, and they simply disappeared in flashes of white light. "Direct hit." Susan shouted, but her voice was filled with awe instead of celebration. "Sir, our weapons are doing things that shouldn't be possible." The alien fleet tried to retreat and regroup, but humanity's defiance was faster than it looked. The massive ship moved like a dancer, spinning and diving through space while its weapons reached out to touch alien vessels hundreds of kilometers away. How is this possible? Robert asked as another group of alien ships vanished in brilliant explosions. You are learning to fight like your descendants, the AI replied. Every move, every decision, every moment of courage brings you closer to becoming the warriors you were meant to be. The battle lasted only 8 minutes. When it was over, 23 alien ships were gone. The 7 survivors were fleeing as fast as their engines could carry them, broadcasting panicked messages in every direction. Sir, I'm picking up their emergency transmissions, David reported. They're calling us a demon ship, and warning other fleets to stay away from human space. Robert watched the alien survivors disappear into the darkness between stars. He felt different than he had an hour ago. Stronger. More confident. Like fighting that battle had taught him something important about what humans could become. Captain, we're receiving messages from Earth, David announced. Everyone wants to know what happened. Tell them we won, Robert replied. Tell them humanity just announced itself to the galaxy. But even as he said it, Robert knew this was just the beginning. The fleeing aliens would spread word about what they had seen. Other fleets would come, bigger ones, with more ships and better weapons. Sir, Susan called out, studying her tactical displays. I'm detecting more alien fleets moving in our direction. Lots more. The Eye's voice filled the bridge with calm certainty. As expected. Word of humanity's refusal to submit will spread across the galaxy. They will come in greater numbers, thinking that overwhelming force can break what diplomacy could not. Robert smiled grimly. How many are we talking about? All of them, Captain. Every species that has ever bowed to stronger powers will come to force humanity to do the same. They cannot allow the example of successful resistance to spread. Robert looked out at the stars, knowing that somewhere in that darkness, entire alien civilizations were preparing for war against Earth. But for the first time in his life, he wasn't afraid. Humanity had built something impossible, and now they were becoming something equally impossible. Well then, he said quietly. I guess we'd better get ready to teach the galaxy what humans are really capable of. Captain Robert Stone sat in the war room deep inside humanity's defiance, staring at the tactical displays that showed dozens of red dots moving toward Earth from every direction. Each dot represented an entire alien fleet, and there were more appearing every hour. 12 different species, sir, reported Commander Lisa Taylor, his first officer. The survivors from our first battle have been busy spreading the word. It looks like half the galaxy is coming to destroy us. The ship's AI had called this meeting, saying it was time to explain what was really happening. Robert looked around the table at his senior officers, all good people who had volunteered for what everyone thought might be a suicide mission. AI, we're listening, Robert said. Tell us what we're really dealing with here. The room's walls came alive with moving pictures showing space battles, human ships, and alien worlds. But these weren't recordings of the past. They were visions of the future. Captain Stone, you must understand something important, the AI began, its ancient voice filling the room. This is not about changing what will happen. This is about making sure it happens exactly as it must. Humanity does not just survive the coming galactic war, you completely dominate it. The pictures showed human fleets spread across the galaxy, with Earth's flag flying on thousands of ships. Alien species knelt before human commanders, offering surrender. Entire star systems belong to Earth. You're saying we're destined to win? Lisa asked, her voice full of doubt as she looked at the tactical displays showing overwhelming alien forces. Destiny is the wrong word, the AI replied. You will win because you choose to win. Because humans refuse to accept defeat even when facing impossible odds. That refusal is what makes your species special in a galaxy full of creatures who learned long ago to submit to stronger powers. Engineer Michael Wright looked up from his datapad. But AI, there are over 3,000 alien ships coming. We're just one ship. The AI showed them new images, scenes of human crews fighting desperately against impossible odds, learning and growing stronger with each battle. Every engagement you fight teaches you to become the warriors your descendants already are. This ship was not built to change the timeline, Michael. It was built to ensure the timeline happens. Robert felt a chill run down his spine. You're saying our future selves sent us this technology because they knew we would need it? The temporal loop is not a mistake, Captain. It is evolution accelerated. Each battle you fight creates the experience and knowledge that your descendants used to build this ship and send it back to you. You are becoming the legendary fighters you were always meant to be. The AI showed them more visions of the future. Human children learning to pilot starships before they could walk. Human soldiers who could think and react faster than any alien warrior. Human commanders who never lost a battle because they had learned that losing was not an option. The aliens coming to destroy Earth believe that overwhelming force can break any resistance, the AI continued. They have used this strategy to conquer hundreds of worlds. But they have never faced a species that simply refuses to be conquered, no matter the cost. Lisa stared at the tactical display. 3,000 ships, AI. How do we fight 3,000 ships? The same way you fought 30 ships, Commander Taylor. One battle at a time, one decision at a time, one moment of human courage at a time. Each victory makes you stronger and teaches your enemies that humanity cannot be beaten. The pictures on the walls changed to show the approaching alien armada. 12 different species had put aside their own conflicts to unite against the human threat. Their combined fleet was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. They fear you, the AI explained. Not because of this ship's weapons, though they are formidable. They fear you because you represent something they thought was impossible, a species that will never submit, never surrender, never accept defeat. If humanity's example spreads, other conquered worlds might remember how to fight back. Robert looked at each of his officers. They all looked scared, but none of them looked ready to give up. So what happens in the final battle? That depends on you, Captain Stone. The future is not written in stone. It is written by the choices you make in the moments that matter most. Your descendants sent you this ship because they trusted you to make the right choices. Michael Wright studied his instruments. The alien fleets will be here in 18 hours. All of them at once. Then we have 18 hours to prepare, Robert said, standing up from the table. AI, what do we need to do? What you have always done, Captain. Refuse to surrender. Fight with everything you have. Trust in your crew and your ship. The rest will take care of itself. As the meeting ended and the officers returned to their stations, Robert remained in the war room looking at the display showing the massive alien armada. Tomorrow, one human ship would face the combined might of 12 alien civilizations. By any reasonable calculation, they should lose. But as Robert thought about everything the AI had told them, he realized that reasonable calculations didn't apply to humanity. They had built an impossible ship using future technology, crewed it with people who learned advanced skills overnight, and won their first space battle against overwhelming odds. AI, one more question, Robert said quietly. Do we really win tomorrow? You win if you choose to win, Captain Stone. The future your descendants remember depends entirely on the choices you make in the next 24 hours. They sent you this ship because they believed you would make the right ones. Robert nodded and walked toward the bridge. Tomorrow, humanity would either take its first step toward galactic dominance, or it would end as just another conquered species. Either way, they would face it with their heads held high and their weapons ready. The galaxy was about to learn what humans were truly capable of when they refused to surrender. Captain Robert Stone stood on the bridge of humanity's defiance watching the most terrifying sight anyone had ever seen. The enemy fleet stretched across space like a dark ocean of metal and energy. 3,000 alien ships from 12 different worlds, all united by one goal, to destroy humanity before it could spread its dangerous ideas of resistance across the galaxy. Sir, they're moving into attack formation, reported Lieutenant Susan Parker, her voice steady despite the overwhelming odds. All weapon systems are charging. They're not planning to ask for surrender this time. Robert looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. They were scared, but none of them looked ready to give up. These were ordinary humans who had volunteered to crew an impossible ship, and now they were about to face the largest military force in galactic history. How long until they reach us? Robert asked. 12 minutes, sir, answered Navigator Tom Wilson. Sir, I need to say something. It's been an honor serving with you all. Save the speeches for after we win, Robert replied, though he felt the same way. Susan, what's our weapon status? All systems ready, Captain. The ship is singing again. I can feel it through the hull. It's not afraid. The alien armada began to move faster, their ships spreading out to surround humanity's defiance from every direction. Energy readings spiked as thousands of weapons powered up simultaneously. The combined firepower could destroy entire planets. This is Admiral Krex of the United Galactic Forces, came a voice over the communication system. You have one final chance to surrender, humans. Our combined fleet represents the military might of 12 civilizations. You cannot win. Robert looked at the overwhelming enemy force and made a decision that would change the galaxy forever. This is Captain Robert Stone. We appreciate your concern, but humanity doesn't know how to surrender. If you want to stop us, you'll have to try. The communication ended, and for a moment, space was completely quiet. Then the alien fleet attacked with everything they had. The first wave of energy beams hit humanity's defiance like a storm of lightning. Thousands of weapon blasts struck the ship's shields, creating explosions that could be seen from Earth. The shields held, but barely. "Shields down to 60%, shouted Engineer Michael Wright. That was just their opening attack. "Return fire," Robert ordered, and felt the ship respond not just to his words but to his determination to protect Earth and humanity's future. What happened next would be remembered in stories told around fires on 1,000 worlds. Humanity's defiance didn't just fight back, it became something beyond a normal warship. The ship moved like it was alive, spinning and dancing through space while its weapons reached out to touch enemy vessels across impossible distances. The Star Destroyer's main guns fired beams that bent space itself, creating tunnels of destruction that struck multiple ships at once. Secondary weapons launched energy bursts that split into dozens of smaller attacks, each one finding a different target. The ship fought like it had the experience of 1,000 battles, even though this was only its second fight. "How is this possible?" whispered Communications Officer David Hayes as he watched entire sections of the alien fleet disappear in brilliant flashes. "Because we refuse to lose," Robert answered, feeling the truth of those words in his bones. "The ship knows we won't give up, so it won't give up either." The battle raged for 2 hours. The alien fleet kept attacking in waves, trying to overwhelm the single human ship through sheer numbers. But every attack was met with impossible defensive maneuvers and devastating counterstrikes. Humanity's defiance moved through the enemy formation like a shark through a school of fish. "Sir, their flagship is trying to retreat," Susan reported. "The command ship is pulling back." Robert watched the massive alien flagship, easily 3 times the size of his own ship, trying to escape the battle. "Not today," he said quietly. "Target their engines." The final weapon blast of the battle was the most spectacular. A beam of pure energy reached across space and struck the alien flagship's power core. The explosion lit up half the solar system as the largest warship in the galaxy vanished in a ball of nuclear fire. The remaining alien ships stopped fighting. One by one, they began broadcasting surrender signals in dozens of different languages. "Sir, we're receiving surrender offers from 11 different species," David announced, his voice full of amazement. "They're asking for terms." Robert looked out at what was left of the once mighty alien armada. Less than 300 ships remained out of 3,000. The rest were either destroyed or fleeing toward their home worlds. "Tell them Earth accepts their surrender," Robert said. "And David, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them to start building Star Destroyer number 2. As news of the impossible victory spread across Earth and beyond, people began to understand that humanity had just changed the balance of power in the galaxy forever. They weren't just another small species trying to survive. They were the new apex predators of space. The ship's AI spoke for the last time during the battle. "Well done, Captain Stone. You have taken the first step on humanity's path to galactic dominance. The future your descendants remember has now become possible." Robert watched as alien survivors limped away toward their home worlds, carrying tales of the demon ship that refused to die. Those stories would spread fear and respect for humanity across the galaxy. "Set course for Earth," Robert ordered. "It's time to go home and start building the fleet that will carry humanity to the stars." As humanity's defiance turned toward the blue marble that was Earth, Captain Stone knew that everything had changed. The galaxy had learned what humans could do when pushed to their limits, and there would be no going back. The age of human dominance among the stars had begun,